some of this information right here. So in this video itself, we're going to run through the skill set of the 3 upcoming units to AFK Journey Waves of Intrigue season. So it will just be me running through the skills itself. I'm still actively playing on the Pioneer server to test out all the new stuff, as well as slowly release the contents which I can release moving forward in the next few days. So before I begin talking more about the skill sets of the new unit, just a disclaimer, all this information that are going to be discussed in this video, they are still in the Pioneer testing stage, so there might be still some value changes or skill set changes for the units moving forward. So without further ado, let's start with the very first banner character. So based on the banners available on the Pioneer server, Sinbad will be one of the very first few banner up for the Wave of Intrigue season. So for the skill set of Sinbad right here, Ultimate Wheezing Age, there's a passive to this skill. So this skill allows Sinbad's skill to do normal attack damage, and his casting speed is affected by both his attack speed and haste. So basically, this skill allows Sinbad to charge to the enemy and then spam some slashes at them, and this casting animation of him slashing the enemy will be affected by attack speed as well as haste buff. So this is a unit which combines 2 different stats to increase the casting speed of the skill. And if we continue to look at the active part, Sinbad lands as many hits as possible on the enemies for 3 seconds, dealing 100% plus 15% damage based on the ultimate skill point per hit. And after this successive attack, she delivers one final strike that deals 240% damage. So basically, he deals as much hits as possible based on his attack speed as well as haste. That is where the passive kicks in. So the higher the attack speed, the higher the haste, the more hits he can do within the 3 seconds to do maximum damage. So that is Sinbad's ultimate. Second skill, Tracker's Instinct. 6 seconds into a battle, Sinbad vaults behind his allies and start assessing the enemy's strength. He marks the enemy dealing the most damage as the healer and the one taking the most damage as the guard. This marks lasts for 30 seconds, and Sinbad then charges at the healer, dealing damage 4 times and reducing their attack, and then she will take on the guard to do same damage 4 times while increasing their damage taken. So both debuffs expire when their respective marks do. If a marked enemy is defeated or when the marks expire, Sinbad starts a new assessment and become unaffected during this time. So these debuffs are reduced to 20% of the original value when used against bosses. So increase in level increases the attack reduction as well as the damage taken by the guard. So if there's only one unit on the battlefield, namely the bosses in the Dream Realm side, both the guard as well as the heater mark will be applied to the boss itself, because the boss will be the one dealing most damage and taking the most hit. So this skill is a pretty powerful debuff in, I'll say, PvP game mode, and if there wasn't this reduction in the debuff value, this skill would be amazing for the bossing compartment, because just imagine a 40% increase on the boss's damage taken as well as a massive decrease to the boss attack. So this skill, I'll say, makes Sinbad a little bit viable for the Dream Realm side of things, but we are still testing out how good will Sinbad be for the different Dream Realm bosses, because right now we are still progressing through the general contents for AFK Journey, right, for the base Dream Realm itself. So we don't have the seasonal bosses unlocked, so I can't really test Sinbad's ability within the new seasonal bosses. So I'll talk more about the other contents that I can talk about in the next few days, so stay tuned for that. But right now, Sinbad, based on this skill, has some viability for the debuffing slot for the team itself. So the third skill, Dual Cut, allows Sinbad to swing his double-headed blade twice, dealing damage to the target 2 times. So just a very simple nuke to this character. And then the hero focus is increased in attack speed to synergize with the ultimate. And for the EX weapon skill, Adaptive Prowess, Sinbad studies the fighting styles of the healer and the guard to strengthen the debuffs he applies. If the healer deals more normal attack damage, Sinbad's debuff will reduce their attack speed by 60 seconds. If they deal more skill damage, the debuff will reduce their energy recovery efficiency by 60%. And for the guard, if they get more healing from allies or themselves, the debuff will reduce vitality, and if they rely more on damage mitigations, the debuff will reduce their physical and magical defense. Okay, so increase in the levels increases the value, and at EX level 3, right, there will be a further decrease to their attack as well as more damage taken by the guard. So adaptive prowess basically allows Sinbad to adapt to specific situations depending on what the enemy uses. And if we take a look at the whole kit of Sinbad's abilities itself, right now Sinbad definitely seems more of a PvP character, and in terms of the performance for the other PvE game mode like your Dream Realm or even the AFK stage push itself, I think Sinbad has a possibility to be used, but based on initial testing, he's still, I would say, like relatively unreliable. So we will have to wait until the later stages for the seasonal bosses, or once we have a better look as to what are the new seasonal Dream Realm bosses ability to talk more about whether or not this unit will be viable. So this is just a first look to the character, and that's pretty much it for Sinbad's ability. So I'm just gonna run through the skills again, right? Wheezing Edge is basically an ultimate that allows him to do as much damage as possible, provided you're able to stack attack speed as well as haste on him. And then the second ability is an ability to allow him to stay away from the battlefield for a little bit and then jump onto the enemy to mark them with the heater as well as the guard debuff, as shown from the signs on their head from the trailer itself. And then we have a nuke, additional attack speed to synergize with the ultimate itself, and then adaptive prowess to deal with the respective situation that you are fielding Sinbad for. So that's for the Sinbad's ability. The next character is Dunlingr, right? So this is the celestial character. I guess I'll save him for later because I actually have quite a bit to talk about this character because I've been using him a lot on the Pioneer server. So let's start with Nara first. So Nara, unfortunately, is a character which I don't see a lot of use in the test server, and I can explain the reason why. Okay, so let's talk about the kit first. Crimson Vengeance, Nara gains 750 energy when the battle starts. After charging up briefly, she deals damage to the target, and if the target HP ratio is lower than 40%, Nara deals true damage instead. So in auto battle, this skill won't be used against non-boss enemy heroes whose HP ratio is above 40%. So basically just a whole bunch of damage as well as hyper acceleration to the ultimate usage. So this is definitely more towards the PvP side of things, because for the boss's HP ratio to be lower than 40%, it's a little bit more challenging, right? Even more challenging than Vala's 50%, but still there could be some use for Nara in the PvE side. But right now I don't see a lot of people using her, at least for the PvE AFK stage runs itself. And for the second skill, right, Phantom Chains, Nara pulls a distant enemy hero towards her when there are no enemies within her normal attack range. The target loses 3.5% HP for every tile they are put, right? And then this skill won't defeat the enemy but prioritizes attacking the closest symmetrical enemy hero. So basically what Nara will do is at the battle start, she will just pull an enemy towards her, right, and then focus on the target, and as long as there's no enemies in front of her, she will be using her Phantom Chains to pull more enemies into her. And this is why she's more PvP centric, because this skill is not going to work on the boss, obviously, because you can't really move the boss. So that's for the second skill. Third skill, Killer Kick. Nara kicks a nearby enemy, dealing damage, knocking them into the air and down for 2 seconds, and then follow up with 3 rapid hits, dealing more damage over time. So just another new ability from the unit. And we have Fuel Focus, increase in attack, and after an assist or kill, the attack increase by an extra 20%. Okay, so one thing to note about this ability is there's no cap to it. I don't know whether or not it's just a flat 20% increase per kill, right? It could be 20 and then additional to every 20% for every assist or kill, but I could be wrong. But let's just put it that maximum up to 34% attack boost, which is still a massive boost at level 3 itself. So now the EX weapon skill, Eerie Execution. After defeating enemy heroes with Crimson Vengeance, which is the ultimate, Nara releases a 2-tile shockwave, dealing damage equals to 8% of the defeated target's max HP to all enemies within area. So this shockwave also heals all allies within the area by 8% of the defeated target's max HP, and the damage dealt and healing from this skill cannot exceed 600% of Nara's attack. So increase in levels, right, allows the value of the damage as well as the heal to increase. And if you reach EX 15, when Nara's energy is full, she casts Phantom Change to an enemy outside of her normal attack range, which with a HP ratio below 40%. So Phantom Chain is the second skill. So just more isolation ability. So from the looks of it, I think Nara is definitely more of a PvP character, where she starts to steamroll the more kills you are able to get on the battlefield, because she starts the battle by isolating a target, right? Once she kills a target, she will continuously pull other targets in to focus on them. And in terms of her usage right now, I've seen some people use her in the PvP side of things, but because we are in the test server, so everyone, because we're in the pioneer server, everyone in the server is using the best team, and the best team consists of the next unit, which I'm going to talk about, which is Dunlingr right here. So Nara doesn't really see too much use, but right now, like I mentioned earlier, the values as well as the skills ability of the unit will change moving forward, so we will provide our in-depth analysis once the unit is confirmed on the global side. So that's for Nara's kit. Next, let's talk about Dunlingr, or I call him Dumb. Okay, this unit is dumb in PvP. Okay, he's so good in PvP. This character is 100% a new PvP god, because there is some coding errors right here, but I'm gonna just summarize what this character do from the ultimate ability itself. So Dunlingr is the celestial tank character, magical damage, gonna sort of compete with Friesto, but this character is more PvP centric, and I'll explain why. So ultimate Echo of Silence, designate a Bell of Order that is either Spellbind or Cure Lock. So if it's Spellbind, your enemies or everyone in the battlefield will be unable to cast their ultimate. If it's Cure Lock, all your enemies or everyone on the battlefield will be unable to recover HP for others. So imagine this, right? Starts off with a Spellbind Bell, and then everyone's ultimate just get locked away. It's an instant silence, which is crazy, because that way Iron can't use the ultimate. And obviously, teams that features a lot of iron has a lot of heal and sustain, so Cure Lock is also really good to prevent the sustain or HP recovery from coming in. So that's the Echo of Silence part, right? That's active. So Dunlingr or Dumb summons the Bell of Order, declaring an order that all non-boss units on both sides must obey unconditionally for 6 seconds. And the passive, he will summon the Bell of Order when the battle starts to keep it on the battlefield for 12 seconds, and this Bell Order deals damage to all enemies each time it is summoned. Okay, so after he's defeated, the order effect duration is reduced by 30% of the remaining time. So basically, at the start of battle, he will summon the Bell of Order, right? So this Bell Order can be between the Spellbind as well as the Cure Lock. So I'm not sure about how do you exactly prop one of each, but I think it's a little bit of RNG factor to that. But both of these binds are insanely powerful. So there will be a 12-second period where if you get Spellbind, the whole bot won't be able to cast the ultimate, and if you get Cure Lock, then the whole bot won't be able to recover HP from others. So that way, right, if he casts the active portion, he will actually resummon the bell once the duration is up, and that's where you're able to continue the HP recovery lock or even the skill casting lock itself. So very powerful unit. Pretty much phases out a lot of iron teams, because I personally took on quite a few Dunlingr teams with my iron setups and I failed terribly. So that's why this unit is quite busted. And then if you take a look at the second skill, Grand Resonance, Dunlingr releases a shockwave covering the frontal area, which is 3 tile wide and 3 tile long, dealing 4 hits of damage. And if the Bell of Order is set to Spellbind, Dunlingr reduces the enemy's attack speed by an extra 60 for 4 seconds. If the Bell of Order is set to Cure Lock, Dunlingr deals additional damage equals to the enemy's lost HP. So this synergizes with the ultimate itself based on what he casts. So obviously, I'll say if you combine the abilities of Dunlingr, let's continue first. Later on, I'll talk about which one is stronger. So next one, Harmonic Sound Wall. If the Bell Order is set to Spellbind, Dunlingr gains a shield to absorb damage. Right, if the spell order is sped to Cure Lock, Dunlingr gains a shield that absorbs damage each time he loses 20% of his max HP. So if you take a look at just the first 3 skill itself, I'll say Spellbind in general is a little bit stronger. Like Spellbind will combine all the different synergies itself, but Cure Lock has obviously its pros as well, especially since this is a very PvP centric character. This if you do get like Cure Lock, you are able to pretty much lock out all the teams that runs on sustain, meaning like your Granny Store teams, even your Skytar store teams, those teams become a lot less efficient because they are now no longer able to heal. So when Dunlingr is present on the battlefield, playing sustain against him is quite suicidal. So that's a very powerful combination of skill. And then heal focus, right, damage reduction taken, and when the order is in fact further reduces damage, so upwards to 24%. And then Clemency Chime, so this is a very powerful skill in tandem to a single core strategy. So this ability allows Dunlingr or Dum to protect the furthest non-summon ally, ensuring they are not affected by his order until the ally is defeated. So increase in level increases the attack as well as the haste. So looking at it, it's a very minimal buff, but because your ally is not affected by the bell, your ally won't be like a silence from using the skills, and your ally will be able to receive heals from other allies. So this is to sort of hyper boost your solo carry to prevent them from being disabled or crippled by your very own Dunlingr. So Dunlingr's ability applies to the whole battlefield, meaning your side as well as your enemy side. So once you get the Supreme Plus ability, that's where one of your carries or one of your units at the backline won't be affected by the skill itself. So Supreme Enhanced Force ability, upon casting Echo of Silence, Dunlingr grants all allies 50 attack speed for 6 seconds, and if the order is set to Spellbind, and provide them with 25 life drain for 6 seconds if the order is set to Cure Lock. So I'll say Dunlingr is definitely one of those characters you want to get to Supreme Class, because the Supreme Class ability is pretty insane and synergizes really well with the ultimate itself. So Dunlingr's kit bases off a lot around the ultimate, which is based on the Bell of Order skill. So this unit, based on my current usage so far in the arena side of things, is quite insane. Okay, I'm just gonna showcase like some of the teams that people are running. So we have a Dunlingr here, right? We have a Dunlingr here, and then we have a Dunlingr right here as well. So this unit is definitely one of the brand new PvP powerhouse. But yeah, pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So based on this early character showcase, right, the skill preview of the characters itself, all of these three characters seems very PvP centric. Maybe Sinbad has some PvE use moving forward, because we still need more days to unlock more contents and then do more testing. But I'll say they are more PvP centric, but they have a lot of creativity in their kit, because for Sinbad's ability, he has the ability to adapt to the situation to do the most optimal outcome. And for Dunlingr, based on the ability that he casts on the battlefield, he's gonna change out what teams he can counter and the whole matchup completely, depending on, you know, the RNG factor, depending on who you face him against. And then for Nara's case, Nara definitely has the ability to isolate target and then quickly burst them down to steamroll quickly. So all three units, I'll say they have their respective users, but with regards to the actual analysis, we will wait until the actual release with all the confirmed data as well as usage from the other players to talk more about them. So that's it for this early skill preview for the Pioneer testing side with regards to the characters itself. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe as usual. And before I end off, like I mentioned earlier, this is the Pioneer testing server stuff, so some of this information might still change moving forward. That's it, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.